Yo, what up guys, I'm Sammy and welcome back to the Soul Brothers channel, and this is my performance review of the 361 Degrees AG2. So this is Aaron Gordon's signature shoe with 361 Degrees, which is a Chinese company. It's going for 90 bucks, which is very cheap. And if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box, but let's get started right off with the Tracciones. And for this colorway, we have like a gum rubber outsole, but then it's like a really like dark brown, right? Usually gum is like a lighter brown color, but in this colorway, it's a darker brown, which is pretty cool. And we have a pivot circle here where the ball of your foot is, and it kind of like circles out throughout this entire outsole, and we have some planets too, which is pretty cool. So how does the traction perform? So on a clean court, it performs really well. You have a very nice bite. I would actually say it's top tier, right? You stop pretty much on a dime, but if you're playing on a dusty setting, you're gonna be not having the best time, right? So I wouldn't say it's terrible, and I also wouldn't say it's dangerous, but it does pick up dust pretty quickly, and it's a pretty hard, it's not a hard wipe, but it's also not an easy wipe, right? So I would have to actually like really wipe my shoes, maybe like 2 or 3 times every single time, because you know, some shoes it's just like there and you're good, and you have a clean like outsole and you have very good stops again, right? But here in the AG2, I really had to wipe, and then once I wiped, it would pick up dust pretty quickly again. I would say after every like 2 to 3 plays, which is pretty fast. So if you're playing on a dusty court, just remember you're gonna have to wipe a lot, which of course sucks, but if you don't mind wiping, then you should be fine. Also, like I said, it's not dangerous. So if you let too much dust pick up, it's not gonna be like a very dangerous slide out or anything. It just doesn't have a good bite. So I guess that is a positive thing. And if you're gonna be playing on an outdoor court, you should also be fine. The rubber is very hard, and as you guys all know, Chinese companies make very durable outsoles for their demographic. The grooves don't seem that deep to me though, interestingly enough, but the rubber is pretty damn hard, so you should be fine on an outdoor court. Also, here in the middle of the outsole, we do have a midfoot shank plate in the shape of like an X, which is pretty cool. And as far as the heel to toe transition goes, it's very smooth. So here in the heel, we have a nice curve shape, right? As you guys can see, the rubber does come up, so it does round off. So we have a very nice rocking motion here in the heel, and we have this foam, and this foam is extremely soft. There's a crazy amount of compression, and it does give you a good bounce back as well. So when you're landing and doing heel dominant strides, it's extremely nice here in the heel, and then here in the forefoot, we have a nice curve shape and a lot of forefoot flex. So heel to toe transition when you're doing heel dominant strides down the court is extremely smooth. I loved how it felt, but also torsional support is good because there is a midfoot shank plate, right? All right, moving on to the cushioning setup. So here in the heel, we have quick foam, and it's just this black foam, and it's really nice, like I mentioned. So there's a lot of compression, right? So when you're just kind of like walking around, it's really soft, right? But then once you start playing and you start to kind of like really put a lot of force into it, there actually is a good rebound back. It's pretty bouncy. I wouldn't say it's super bouncy like React or even Zoom, right? But there is a nice rebound back, which feels really nice once you start going. And then for the rest of the foam, we have Neo Foam Oregon, right? So it's a pretty weird name, but it's pretty much just this white foam here in the forefoot, right? So here on the lateral and medial side of the shoe. And then the rest of this is just plastic. They're calling it the Quick Balance, right? So it's just a cage. It goes all the way around, right, and stops here also on the medial side. So for the court feel, it's not the best, right? So comparing it to like the Hardens, even the Kyries, it's not great, right? You're kind of high up off the ground. I wouldn't say it's as bad as like LeBron's or even like the Zoom GT Jump, but it's still like not the best court feel. So if you like court feel, this probably isn't the best shoe for you. But of course, they're sacrificing court feel for a lot of cushion, which Aaron Gordon needs. So he's a very athletic dude. He's a big dude as well, so he needs a lot of impact protection, right? So impact protection is insane, guys. The quick foam has a lot of compression. It's super soft here in the heel. I would even say it's a little mushy at times, right? So when I was playing in it, it does feel responsive. I didn't feel super slow, but when I wanted a really responsive type of feel, this definitely wasn't the shoe that I wanted to pick, right? So if you're looking for a responsive cushioning setup, then this definitely definitely isn't the best option. But like I said, once you get going, it does add a little bit of bounce and it's not terrible. But impact protection is great here in the heel for heel strikes, and then here in the forefoot, it's also really nice. You also get a soft feeling. The step-in comfort and the cushion right underneath the foot is really nice. Here in the forefoot, it feels great, and also here in the heel. And like I said, you do have a nice bounce as well. So the cushioning setup is really nice. I liked it, but there are two things that I feel like some people might not like, and that is the responsiveness and also the court feel. The court feel isn't the best. All right, moving on to the material. So we have like a textile material which goes throughout this entire upper basically, and a lot of fuse, right? So here in the forefoot, there's a good amount of fuse, right? So here on the medial and also on the lateral side, and then the textile material is pretty exposed here in the middle, right? But it's extremely soft. Look at that, super soft. It actually feels pretty damn nice on foot, you know. It's comfortable but also supportive, right? It's supportive where it needs to be with this fuse, right? Here on the lateral side, you need it to be supportive, and also if you do toe drag, you should be covered because there is fuse here as well. And then it stays extremely thin here in the midfoot, as you guys can see. It has pretty much no glue. It's not stiff at all. And then here for the tongue, we have a very large tongue, as you guys can see, right? There is a little bit of padding. I wouldn't say it's the coziest tongue, but it is pretty comfortable, and also it is a half booty construction tongue. And then here in the ankle area, we have some Achilles pads, and the Achilles pads feel nice. It gives you good lockdown, and it also improves the comfort here in the ankle area. So for $90, they did a great job. I mean, I guess this fuse material here in the ankle area is kind of cheap feeling, but overall, like this fuse material here in the midfoot and also in the forefoot doesn't feel that cheap, right? And also this textile material is really nice, especially for 90 bucks. So yeah, for performance on foot, it felt great, and also for quality, it's really nice for 90 bucks. I would even say if it was like 120, 130 bucks, I would still say that that's a pretty nice material for the price, right? All right, moving on to the fit. I went true to size, and it fits me really well. So for length, my toes go pretty much right to the edge of the shoe, which is awesome, right? So I feel like most people should be fine going true to size. Width-wise, I would actually say it's slightly narrow, right? As you guys can see, it's pretty narrow. It gets especially pointy here at the tip of the toe. And then here in the toe box, when I first got it, it was kind of snug, right? Which felt great. But then this textile material definitely stretched out a little bit, right? So it's a little bit looser. So if at first you get it and it's a little tight and you don't like it, just give it some time. It'll definitely stretch out a little bit, right? So for me overall, the fit was great. You know, I had no issues with the fit. It's also a super easy shoe to put on. You know, the tongue opens up a lot. And also we do have a very high heel tab. All right, moving on to support and lockdown. I mean, it's Aaron Gordon. And if you're gonna make a shoe for Aaron Gordon, impact protection is probably up there, and also support has to be up there as far as the priority goes, right? So for lateral containment, you're gonna be good to go, right? This material is pretty supportive, but also we have the foam coming up, acting as a sidewall here in the forefoot, and also here in the heel, we have the quick balance, right? Which is pretty much this lateral cage, especially here in the heel. And also it seems like there is an internal TPU heel counter too, so lateral containment, you're gonna be good to go. Your foot is not coming out of the foot pad at all. And also for lateral stability, you're gonna be good, right? So the outsole does protrude out. We do have a very sharp outrigger, which does provide for a very wide base, so lateral stability was also good for me as well. All right, moving on to the weight of the shoe. If I remember correctly, it was kind of heavy, right? Like 13, 14 ounces. Yeah, so 14.6 ounces. Let's check the other pair. 14.6 ounces. So the exact same weight. Pretty rare actually. So 14.6 ounces definitely is not super light. 12.5 ounces actually is the average weight of my shoes, right? So 14.6 is on the heavier side of things, but I really didn't have a huge issue with the weight. This shoe actually doesn't feel bulky at all. Look at this. Right, there's nothing protruding out as far as like the foam goes. The material is actually like this upper is super minimal, right? Look at that, super minimal, very thin. I feel like most of the weight is coming from the foam. So maybe the company, they can do some R&D and make some like lighter foams, right? But like I said, it wasn't a huge deal. Also, the shoe does definitely feel a little bottom heavy, but other than that, I had no issues with the weight. I mean, as far as responsiveness goes, it's not the most responsive shoe, but I really didn't have any huge issues with it. Like the performance on dust can be a little bit better for the traction, and also the cushion is a little bit on the softer side, but of course you do get comfort in its place, right? All right, moving on to the ventilation. Ventilation is actually pretty good, right? So through this textile material, there is a good amount of airflow and it's thin, so it doesn't keep in heat that well. So ventilation surprisingly is pretty good in this shoe. Moving on to the aesthetics, I love it. I feel like they did a great job in designing the shoe. There also is an AG2X, which actually exposes this like midfoot chain plate. You know, it looks pretty damn cool. And this colorway looks great. There's also another colorway that I really like. It's like an all black color, but there are some iridescent accents. I feel like it was like on the fused material, which also looked really cool. So tell us what you guys think of the aesthetics down in the comment section below. So wrapping things up, the AG2 is solid, right? If you're looking for a really responsive shoe, this probably isn't the best, right? And if you want court feel, this shoe also isn't the best. But if you're looking for cushion, you're looking for impact protection and also support, this is a great shoe. So surprisingly for me, I did enjoy playing in the shoe. It'll loosely be in my rotation. Like if I want a lot of cushion, then I'll probably pick this shoe. You know, there are some other options out there like the Zoom GT Jump, like the MB1, you know, or even like the KD14, which I like a little bit better, but the AG2 is still a solid option for me, I would say. So yeah, I would definitely recommend it. It's a nice shoe and it's only 90 bucks, guys. Great price. So anyways, that about concludes my performance review of the AG2. Again, if you guys do want to cop, I'll leave a link in the description box, but that's it. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.